Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. For today's episode, I want to talk about potential trade rumors. The Atlanta Hawks potentially are looking to trade their forward, Deandre Hunter. And so I want to talk about how he could be potentially a good fit for this Miami Heat roster. So DeAndre Hunter was drafted in 2019. He was the fourth overall pick, and he has not panned out for the Atlanta Hawks. They thought he could be a great star player next to Trae Young. And, he's plateaued, essentially. He's not a bad player. He's definitely a good, solid player. And he's a role player. That's just what it is. He's a high-level role player for the Atlanta Hawks on a bad team. He's not elevating this team, helping them, build a winning culture. And that's not his fault, obviously. It starts at the top, and then it starts with their stars. But he's someone, that is speculated that could be moved. He has a decent contract. It's not amazing. It's not horrible, especially with the new CBA and how much players are obviously making. Every year that's increasing. But either way, so I want to talk about how he could fit with the Miami Heat's core of Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Terry Rozier. One of those guys that I just mentioned might have to be traded for him based on salaries. But either way, I want to talk about how he could fit in with the Miami Heat. So DeAndre Hunter, 26 years old, still young, averaged 15.6 points per game last season, about 4 rebounds, an assist, almost a steal, shot 38% from 3 on 5 attempts, which is huge. The Miami Heat love guys who are athletic, 3-and-D type players. That's not going to solve every problem for the Miami Heat, but those are the types of guys you need on your roster during the playoffs. Miami Heat were a top 5 defensive team. Adding him in the mix would definitely help with our defense and our perimeter defense specifically. So Hunter, 6'8", forward. He has a wingspan of 7'2", which is huge. So he's known for his defensive prowess, again, which is something Miami deeply values. And so having him on the floor means he can guard most likely 2 through 4. Bam obviously would be still our center going into the season, even though we want him to move to the power forward. But either way, he can guard shooting guards all the way to power forward. So that is good. Offensively, he's shown improvement throughout his career, but he's kind of plateaued. He's never averaged less than 12. 12 was what he averaged his rookie year. He's averaged 15 points 3 other times. Like, he can't really get over that hump, but that's fine. We could definitely use someone who's a 3-and-D type player who shoots 38% from 3, who can get you anywhere from 12 to 16 or 17 points per game would be good. So again, he's that prototypical 3-and-D player who could space the floor, take some pressure off the Miami Heat. He can get hot. He can be streaky and get you games where he's like scoring 23, 24, 25 points per game. Obviously, that's rare, but still, he is someone that can definitely help with scoring as well, with that ability to hit that deep ball. What would it take to get DeAndre Hunter? Again, I'm not exactly sure who we would trade. So he just signed a 4-year, $90 million deal. So he's already played 1 year into that contract. So he has 3 years left. He's making about $21 million next season, then 23 and 24. So not horrible, but also not great. But he's still, again, he's 26. He still has room for improvement if he gets into a better system, onto a better team, has a bigger role to a certain degree. He still can improve, but again, he's already 26. He's been in the NBA for 5 years, so it already seems like you already know what you're going to get with him. But $21 million, if we're going to trade for him, it would have to be like a Duncan Robinson who's making like 19. It would have to be like a Terry Rozier or a Tyler Hero. Not saying I want to trade either of those guys, but if we were able to do that, Tyler's making 30. He still has 90 million left on his contract, so we would be saving money long term, and also next season we would save $9 million. Terry Rozier has 2 years left, I believe, which is around 50 million. He's averaging around 25 million per season. In that sense, we would take on an extra year or so with DeAndre's contract in comparison to Terry's, but you would be saving still 4 million next season. So you could do that, but it's also going to be tricky because the Atlanta Hawks have a lot of money tied up with their current roster, and they're looking to probably shed salary. If you're a rebuilding team, they just got the number 1 pick. They still have Trae Young, but they're obviously looking for a rebuild. They're trying to move Clint Capella as well. And, they probably don't want to take on more salary. They want to dump salary. They want to take on less salary if possible. So, not sure what route or avenue the Miami Heat would have to go in that situation. So, again, the potential of adding DeAndre on this Miami Heat team could be good because it can elevate our defensive ceiling. Again, he's going to be playing with the best coach in the NBA, so Spoelstra can unleash new defensive schemes, and then again, he can hit threes. He could average 15 points per game. That's definitely something that we need on this roster, is someone who's able to obviously score, but is a two-way player. The Miami Heat, one of the worst offensive teams in the last few years, 27th in points per game, 21st in offensive rating. So adding him in there, someone who has versatility but also playoff experience, adds value to the Miami Heat's regular season, which could be good. The issue, though, with DeAndre Hunter, outside of like him maybe hitting the ceiling and his contract, is his injury history. So he's never played more than 67 games in a season. That's the same as Tyler Hero. So Tyler Hero has never played more than 67, and that's been a knock on Tyler Hero for his career. So Hunter always seems to be banged up as well, and that's not great for someone who's young but also has a pretty sizable contract. If he was making $12 to $15 million per season, I think that would be huge for his skill set. But for him making 21 and then 23 and 24 is kind of a lot, especially at his age, because he will be 29 by the end of this contract. And there's other guys out there that I think could fit better with this Miami Heat team, and guys that are like the KCPs of the world or the Cam Johnsons of the world. Well, Cam Johnson is also getting paid, but KCP was making in that like 13, 14, $15 million range. And I think that's more sustainable and better for this Miami Heat's salary cap situation, as they're almost a second apron team. But I think DeAndre could be a good fit for this Miami Heat team. It is a possibility that we could make a trade this offseason. Very unlikely, but it's possible. Or if there's injuries, or if the Miami Heat suck next season, maybe before the trade deadline, we explore a trade option with the Atlanta Hawks and add DeAndre Hunter to this team. So let me know what you guys think about the prospect of adding DeAndre Hunter. Do you think it makes sense to add another 3-and-D wing player to this Miami Heat team, even though that might not be the necessity of what we need in terms of position? But still, let me know what you guys think about that possible trade scenario.